When they had finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" "Yes, Lord," he said. "You know that I love you." Jesus said, "Feed my lambs." Again, Jesus said, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" He answered, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Jesus said, "Take care of my sheep." At that time he said to him, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him that third time, "Do you love me?" He said, "Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you." Jesus said, "Feed my sheep. Very truly I tell you, when you were younger, you dressed yourself and went where you wanted. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands and someone else will dress you and lead you where you do not want to go." Jesus said this to indicate the kind of death by which Peter will glorify God. Then he said to him, "Follow me." Greeting, guys. It is me here with a message of the kingdom of heaven. Guys, I want you to be honest with me. Wherever you are, just be honest. If you studied the Gospels, and you really, really went deep, and learned, the character or the personality of Peter, do you think that Jesus was supposed to pick him and choose him to be the leader for his sheep? I mean, guys, I don't know, I wouldn't have thought that. I wouldn't. It's just that now I understand why my Lord picked Peter instead of others. But initially, guys, I wouldn't. I mean, guys, this is the guy who overworked my Lord. Guys, guys, Peter, guys, overworked my Lord. I remember when Jesus had left them and was gone, and they went ahead of him, and they were in the boat at night, and Jesus came to them at night walking on water, and the other disciples were like shocked. They stood in awe. Wow, this dude is walking on water. Do you know what Peter did? Peter got out and he walked on water. He didn't even make it to Jesus. Jesus had to run to Peter and rescue him. Guys, this dude overwhelmed my Lord. There was a time where Jesus was washing their feet, and he started with the first disciple. That disciple didn't say anything, kept quiet. I'm pretty sure he was shocked, God, But Peter, he had to speak. Peter, guys, had to speak. He said, "No, no, 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 no. That's not going to happen to me. You're not going to wash my feet, And Jesus had to threaten Peter and say, "Listen, if you won't allow me to wash your feet, you're no longer my own." You understand? So, guys, this is a guy who overworked. Guys, I can tell you a million things that Peter did, to show that this dude overworked my Lord. There was a time where the hypocrite of Jesus' time came to him and said, "Do you know your disciples are eating without washing their hands?" And Jesus, responded and said, "You also are bad people because you do not worship my Father, sincerely. You worship him in vain. You give them rules taught by men instead of his word, So after that, they go to him and they say, "Do you know that the Pharisees were offended by that?" And then Peter comes later and he asks Jesus, "Can you explain what you mean by that?" And Jesus turns to Peter and is like, "Are you still so dumb?" So I think about all of those things, guys. There's quite a lot of things, So Peter, guys, is someone when I see it and I think about, I laugh, In fact, guys, I'm trying to make it to my Lord's kingdom. I really am trying. But when I do, guys, before my Lord judges me, I'll tell him, "Oh, with your eyes burning like fire like that, wait a minute, I must see Peter." Guys. And I'll ask my Lord, "How come you picked Peter? You are so dumbish." You know what I mean, guys? I'll tell my Lord straight in the face. Guys, if you were to go to Jesus and gossip and say, "You know what, Jesus, Peter was gossiping about you. Peter said A, B, C, and D about you." Jesus will say, "You're lying. Peter doesn't have the guts to gossip about me." That guy will tell me straight in my face. Guys, Peter. He overwhelmed my Lord. But I love that dude. It's just that was too damage. You know what I mean? But here, my Lord is giving him a position that is higher than all the others, because he's telling him to take care of his sheep. He's telling him to feed his lambs. You understand? He's telling him, to be there and guide, his sheep, and he's giving this to someone like that. At first you will be like, this doesn't make sense. How can Jesus pick a dummy one like that? Guys, Peter was dummish. But, coming to understand my Lord's ways, my king doesn't want someone who is wise according to the world. If you think that you are a graduate, so you are going to lead the people of God, you better think again. You might as well lead wolves. As it is, pastors with, guys, I don't want to talk. Educated pastors. I'm talking about, I'm talking, guys, about pastors with masters in theology. You understand? Pastors, guys, with PhDs in theology. They are leading mega churches. Let me tell you, they are leading wolves. Guys, not anyone can lead children of God. You can lead the wolves, not children of God. That man, he leads his own himself. That man. Jesus often said a statement to the Israelites that the Israelites overlooked what Jesus was saying. The first time he said it was after he had told them that he is a bread that they must eat. And they were grumbling and angry. And Jesus said to them, listen, no one can come to me unless the Father enables them to come to me. What he meant by that was that, listen, that man, he will only allow me to lead his own. The second time was when the other disciples who had joined him, because Jesus chose the 12, even though one was a devil, he picked Judas on purpose, but there were others who followed him, who were not handpicked by Jesus. So they also became his disciples. But after listening to his teachings deeply, they left and said, this is hard. We can't take this. And Jesus told them, he said, I told you that no one can come to me unless the Father is the one drawing. You understand? Why was Jesus keep saying that, repeating it? Because, guys, he repeated it multiple times. If I'm not mistaken, it was in the Gospel of John, it must have been more than 4 times, if I'm not mistaken. More than 4 times. Why did Jesus say that? He said that because, you see, guys, Daddy wants to lead his own. He doesn't trust anyone to lead his own. But the only person he trusts is Jesus himself. The only person he trusts is Jesus himself. Why is that? Not only because Jesus is a God. And I remember, guys, we've been speaking about the fact that the younger son died. So it was as if Adam was created by Satan. And all of us had a seed of Satan because Satan was our father because of Adam. So Jesus was the only son of God, But Jesus not only was the only son of God, but he's a God as well. You understand? And he is the Word. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was God. The Word was with God. You understand? So Daddy trusts Jesus that much that he tells John, he says, this is my son. With him, I am well pleased. To understand? And I remember Jesus picked Peter, James, and John, and he goes to the mountain and he's transfigured in front of them. And Daddy speaks right there. He says, this is my son. Listen to him. You understand? So when you are his sheep, he will point you to Jesus because Daddy only trusts Jesus with the sheep, no one else. But now the question is, why pick a dummy one like that to lead his sheep? Because Jesus asked Peter 3 times, Peter, do you love me? Do this. Do you love me? Take care of my sheep. Do you love me? Feed my lambs. You understand? And guys, I remember because Peter felt guilty because he had denied Jesus because of the fear. You understand? So he must have thought that, oh, my Lord, doesn't trust me anymore. No, it had nothing to do with that. Jesus did tell him, said, do not worry. You will deny me, but do not worry. You will come back and everything. So Jesus wasn't worried about that because he knew that they didn't have the Holy Spirit and the knowledge they had wasn't enough. You understand? So he understood. And also, Jesus wanted them to remain here on earth because they were going to die for him. At that time, they didn't have much information, you understand? So Jesus was not even thinking about it, In fact, Jesus knew that Peter, out of all of them, loved him so much. Guys, Peter loved him stupidly. I call him my dummy one, but that one loved my Lord naively. In fact, I love a person who loved my Lord like that because I'm also damaged like that. I love my Lord like that. I love him naively. Sometimes I think I can't see any wrong with my Lord. I can't see any wrong with my Lord, and I'm cognizant of that, and it's because of the love I have for him. I can't even see anything wrong, with that. But what I'm trying to say is that here, my Lord, guys, is asking Peter, why is that? It's because, see, guys, my Lord will never choose someone who's educated to lead his own people. Because if you're going to be using the education of this world, meaning this knowledge of the tree of good and evil, even if you go to school of theology, they come back with messages of praying to Mary. They come back with messages of there is no hell. They come back with messages of God is still writing more books, completing the Bible. They come back with messages of riches, earthly blessings, once saved, saved forever. You understand? So obviously, they are coming back from people who teach the word, but they are teaching their own beliefs. You understand what I'm trying to say? So with Daddy, he has to remove, if you are educated, you will have to remove that nonsense you learned, because here we learn nonsense. Unfortunately, he's not against us being educated, but it's nonsense we learn here. You understand? That's why Jesus wasn't educated. And they came to him and said, how come you know so much? You've never been to school. And Jesus says, because the things I'm teaching you, they don't come from this kingdom. They come from the kingdom of heaven. So it's my Daddy who gave it to me, to give it to you. You understand? So obviously with Daddy, he will never lead you, he will never expect you to be led by someone with information of this place, because those people will teach you rubbish. That's why he got me out of churches, because pastors were educated. They were busy teaching me to be rich now, because they are scared of people of this place, because they learned their nonsense. So they must teach me nonsense. You know what I mean? So it's things like that. So with Daddy, he doesn't trust anyone. He only trusts himself. The only person he trusts to lead his own is Jesus, nobody else. So with Jesus, when he picks people, he picks someone who is damaged according to the world, or someone who can learn his ways and get rid of this dummy thing. If you think that education here on earth is something, Daddy will never use you, because education here is nonsense. It's just something that we entertain ourselves while it's on this side, and it doesn't tell us to not get educated. You understand? Because through education you can have your needs met. You understand? But it's nonsense in the making. So what I'm trying to say is that even with someone like Paul, someone who was educated, Paul, guys, was taken to third heaven, and he saw those things. So with him, he came back with a brand new information. So he was teaching us something totally different. You understand? So with Jesus picking Peter, it's because he knew that Peter is damaged. Peter will take everything that Jesus says, meaning that Peter will never take any other thing except what Jesus says, because Peter loves him naively. Peter loves Jesus stupidly. So he will take everything. You understand? I mean, guys, I know that man, when you are a sheep, he only trusts Jesus and his word. He doesn't trust anyone. I mean, guys, he did it with me. Got me out of churches, and I was so angry. Guys, I remember, guys, I was so angry. I used to love my pastors and being around people and fellowshipping with people. But when he kept guys reprimanding me, don't do this, and it's like, these people are doing the very same things you are reprimanding me. What's going on? And my Lord wanted me to do what, guys? To stick to the word. To stick. That's all, guys. Nothing more, nothing less. To stick to the word. Do you understand? And when he told me, Nini, never lie about my word. Do you understand? Why? He will tell me, because you are my sheep. My sheep listen to my word. My sheep follow me. You understand? They don't follow a stranger. They don't follow, they don't recognize a stranger's voice. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to let you know that if daddy is the one dealing with you, the only thing he will point you to is Jesus. In fact, I'm sorry, my Lord, to say the only thing. I wanted to say the only thing he will point you to is the word, or the only person he will point you to is Jesus, nobody else. Why? He doesn't trust anyone but his word. Don't even listen to me. I always say that don't even listen to me, but go to the word. Stick to the new covenant. Stick to the New Testament, because daddy only trusts his word and Jesus, nobody else.